Okay, so in this video, we're going to be building a long coat rack. It's going to be about 6 feet long, about 8 inches in, I guess we'll say height or width. And it's going to be 1 inch thick lumber. So it's going to be 4/4 inch poplar. We're going to be cutting this down. So I started with the jigsaw since it's not the straightest wood to get this poplar, and it's a little hard to manage on the miter saw, and also to prevent for kickback. So you can see I tried to run through the joiner on the these boards on the jointer, but I have a benchtop jointer, so it's not easy to run these boards, and they're still kind of long. They're still a little over 6 feet. We're going to come down the final length later, so it's just going to be easier to use the track saw for this. So we're going to pull the track saw out and just get one straight edge on both of these long boards, and then we'll run through the table saw to get to the final width, and then we'll run through the thickness planer, then we'll cut to the final length on the miter saw later before we start laying out our joinery. So this is going to be a pretty simple build. It's going to be identical to the last video I just put out with the key rack key holder build. It's going to be just one long board with the dado slot cut down one side of it where the shelf will sit inside, and then we'll brace the shelf with some glue, brad nails, screws, and then we're going to put some little triangle type braces on underneath the shelf part. So it's going to be not only a coat rack with hooks, but it's also going to act as a shelf too for the client. And it's going along with some other furniture we built for them, a long bench. So it's essentially going to be almost like a wall tree, but not as one unit. So there's going to be a bench underneath it. So and they're all the same exact wood, stain color, and also the same dimensions. They're both 70 inches long. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to get a straight edge, then we'll run it through the table saw and start milling this up, sand it down, and then we'll join it. So you can see we're just using the track saw for this to make it a lot easier. Okay, you can see here we're going to get our final dimensions here. So the advantage of using real wood over plywood for dados, stacks, I guess, or shelves, or just cabinet built in general, is you can plane down your wood thickness to get a real tight fit here. So also I had a little piece of chip out here at the one edge of the dado cut. It just had a little tear out here, so we're going to try to remedy that and fix it with a little piece of filler and just use some CA glue and activator and some regular glue and just kind of clean it up, and it will cut it off eventually. But now we're going to fill some of these holes and knots with some epoxy and some black dye just to fill in any imperfections of the wood, especially for the shelf. And we're going to let this sit for a little bit, and we'll move on to the next steps. We'll start setting up like a little triangle pieces, etc. So it's the next day, and we're going to clean up the shelf part now that's dry. It had to dry overnight with the epoxy and the knots here. So once we filled those holes, we're able to clean the shelf up now and do a final sanding on both pieces before we're going to dry fit, and then we're going to put some glue, and then we're going to join this together. This is not a very difficult build. This is pretty simple from a woodworking standpoint. But I think the little details, little extra steps, I think sometimes can help your work stand out. Like I could have just put some triangle corner brackets in, or none, but I decided to put three in here, one in the center, one on each end. Just give a little fancy design, especially when you're going to stain it. It's going to have like a walnut color stain applied to these later. So you just want to kind of give the nice little touches and details to make your work stand out. Every edge is softened with a chamfer and sanded. And now we're going to do our final assembly for this, which is going to just be some glue, some brad nails, and some screws, some trim head screws that will mark out, lay out, and we're going to just put this together. Real simple, nothing difficult. I'm not even going to clamp it because the brad nails will act as clamps, and then we'll put the screws in. And honestly, the dado is so tight, it's kind of holding without any pressure from clamps. So that's about it. We're going to lay this out and assemble this and let it dry for a little bit, and then we'll get ready for final finish. Okay, so we're starting to finish up this project here. We stained everything to special walnut. It's Minwax. It's what the client requested. And we're going to be finishing with a couple coats of polyurethane. And we're going to sand in between coats. You can see here we have the bench and this coat rack. They're going to be going together on the same wall, almost as one unit. And we're also, there's a key rack or key holder that's going to be going onto another wall. We're going to install both units on site, and we'll show a couple seconds of that later. But so we're going to finish everything. We're going to do a scuff sand in between coats of polyurethane, and then we'll do our final coat and really get ready. These will be ready for delivery, and we're going to deliver these and we're going to install. But first, we got to install the hooks. So the hooks we're going to install next, and that's just going to be marking out, laying out. We're going to have about 1.5 inches of space in between each hook. There's going to be 4 on each side, so 8 altogether. And these are hooks that the client also ordered, and they can hold up to, I think, 40 pounds of weight, which, you know, that's more than enough. So we're going to lay these out, and then we're going to have to erase these pencil marks, unfortunately. Then we put another light coat of polyurethane over after we kind of clean up our markings, after we lay our screw our hooks on. So that's next. We're going to set our hooks up, and then we're going to be ready for delivery. Okay, see here I'm on site. I'm going to be installing this coat rack and then also the key rack on the other wall there to the left of the door. It's a really nice day out, so we were able to leave the door open even. So we're going to install this. I'm just going to set a little laser level up just for the mark of my studs after I find the studs with the stud finder, and put a square in the level on top of the unit to make sure we're nice and level before we start screwing these in. And that's about it. It's pretty much done. It went together nice and easy. The client loved it, and if you have any questions, let me know. This came out nice. I was happy with it, and the client was happy, and that's the most important. And there's everything together. It's 3 units, 3 pieces, and this is a repeat customer, so we try to make sure everything was perfect for them. Thanks for watching.